gasp at the right times, and you can hear people crying at the right times. As a filmmaker, that's all I could ask for.
I was one of only 2 people involved when I suddenly got a call from both my manager and my agent at the same time, which immediately told me something serious was happening. I struggled with it because I'd sometimes judged her for being so confident, but I also felt honored, especially since what we were talking about was so important. This is Popstream, where the glitz and glamour of Hollywood collide with the blazing spotlight of social media. Right now, the wildest twists are unfolding around the highly anticipated film adaptation of Colleen Hoover's best-selling novel, It Ends With Us. What started as a heartfelt project blending Justin Baldoni's sensitive directorial style with Blake Lively's seasoned acting quickly escalated into something far more dramatic. Fans were expecting an emotional rollercoaster that honored the novel's deeply meaningful themes, but the excitement soon faded as rumors of on-set clashes, legal disputes, and creative differences began to overshadow the initial buzz. Gossip spread about possible defamation claims and even manipulated digital documents. And suddenly the spotlight shifted entirely to Baldoni and Lively, who reportedly found themselves locked in a bitter feud. Lively's powerful network of friends rallied fiercely to her side, while Baldoni, not without support of his own, began to gather a growing group of loyal backers. As the drama continued to unfold, an entirely new narrative started to take shape. Could Baldoni have been right all along? Perhaps he had been quietly warning from the very beginning that the project was veering off course, sensing early on that the film's serious, heartfelt core, the emotional gravity that made Colleen Hoover's novel so beloved, was being overshadowed by flashy comedic elements and modern stylistic choices. After weeks of speculation, scrutiny, and mounting public pressure, Baldoni finally broke his silence in a moment that immediately captivated fans and the media alike. He released a heartfelt video message expressing deep gratitude to those who had stood by him. His words, both simple and profoundly moving. "You saved me." The clip, brief yet incredibly powerful, quickly went viral, spreading across social media platforms and news outlets. In the video, Baldoni directly addressed the people who had believed in his integrity, offering a rare glimpse of honesty and vulnerability in an industry too often dominated by sensationalized headlines and orchestrated press events. Unlike a grand red carpet spectacle or a carefully scripted press conference, this message was raw, unpolished, and intimate, allowing viewers to connect with the man behind the director's chair in a way that few ever had. For Baldoni, this quiet, unassuming moment carried enormous weight. His career built on storytelling rooted in empathy, emotional honesty, and the careful exploration of human relationships, and had always emphasized compassion over spectacle. And in this moment, that philosophy shone through. The response from the public was immediate and intense, with longtime supporters praising his courage and new audiences beginning to understand the personal stakes he had endured behind the scenes to fully appreciate why Baldoni's statement resonated so strongly. It's essential to rewind to the very beginning of this saga, when news first broke that It Ends With Us would receive a high-profile big-screen adaptation. The announcement sent waves through social media, generating an explosion of excitement and anticipation. Fans who had cherished the novel's emotional depth, delicate handling of difficult topics, and inspiring themes were eager to see the story brought to life under Baldoni's direction, trusting that someone with his reputation for nuance and sensitivity would honor the essence of the book. The casting of Blake Lively only heightened expectations, as her proven versatility from sharp comedies to emotionally intense thrillers and moving dramas seemed to make her an ideal choice to carry the story's complex emotional weight. Early behind-the-scenes glimpses appeared promising, giving the impression that the project was off to a flawless start. However, these initial impressions masked the storm brewing quietly behind the cameras. As filming continued, rumors of creative tension began to circulate, with gossip columns speculating that Lively's affinity for polished, stylish, or comedic elements clashed with Baldoni's determination to preserve the novel's raw emotional core. Initially, fans assumed such creative friction was normal, the natural give and take of any major production, but the situation darkened when reports emerged that Lively felt increasingly sidelined, allegedly pressured into promotional strategies and on-set decisions that didn't align with her artistic vision or interpretation of the material. Matters escalated dramatically when Baldoni reportedly filed a defamation claim, asserting that Lively had publicly misrepresented him by suggesting he ignored or suppressed her ideas. The controversy grew further when allegations surfaced that documents supporting Lively's perspective, internal messages, and other digital records might have been manipulated, potentially creating the false impression that Baldoni had intentionally pushed the project in a comedic direction he never intended. For fans of the novel, the drama was shocking, even disheartening. A story celebrated for its emotional resonance was now the center of rumors, allegations, and potentially doctored evidence. Amid the chaos, a subtler but no less powerful drama was unfolding online, as supporters of Baldoni began to organize, amplifying his side of the story on social media and fan forums. They refused to accept the depiction of him as a villain scheming to distort the novel's tone, instead pointing to his decades-long track record of creating emotionally honest, thoughtful films and advocating for collaborators' creative voices. Many pored over interviews, set reports, and behind-the-scenes anecdotes, piecing together a narrative in which Baldoni's resistance to the comedic shift was not a matter of ego but a deliberate effort to protect the story's heart and preserve the themes that had touched so many readers. This context is what made his video, in which he quietly but firmly declared, "You saved me," so profoundly impactful. It wasn't a perfunctory thank you or a calculated PR move. It was a candid acknowledgement that he had felt isolated, under siege, and threatened by accusations that could have derailed not only the project but his reputation. The steadfast support of his fans, he revealed, had provided him with the strength and clarity to continue amid a storm of public scrutiny. The significance of that moment became even clearer as the controversy divided public opinion, crystallizing into two vocal camps. On one side, Lively's defenders, influential and powerful, praising her star power, style, and professionalism, and on the other, a growing army of Baldoni supporters, who celebrated his integrity, compassion, and unwavering commitment to telling stories that honor human emotion. In this charged high-stakes environment, Baldoni's words were more than just a statement. They were a declaration of artistic intent, a call for empathy, and a reminder of why storytelling, at its best, it is about truth and heart rather than headlines and spectacle. On the other side were Baldoni's supporters, fewer in celebrity backing but deeply passionate and resolute. They shared personal stories of how his previous films had impacted them, highlighting his dedication to telling meaningful, emotionally honest stories and treating collaborators with genuine respect. Over time, this grassroots support gained momentum, spreading quietly but powerfully across social media, fan forums, and industry discussions. During a high-profile industry panel, a reporter asked Baldoni how he was coping with the swirling accusations and media firestorm. Calmly and deliberately, he reassured attendees that a thorough legal process would ultimately reveal the truth. More importantly, he expressed heartfelt gratitude to those who had supported him, acknowledging that their encouragement had given him the strength to persevere. This quiet public acknowledgement underscored both the loyalty and influence of his fan base, proving that in the chaos of Hollywood, authentic community can carry significant weight. Notably, Baldoni refrained from launching harsh accusations at Lively. Instead, he emphasized that sensational rumors often overshadow nuanced realities, demonstrating a measured, compassionate approach even amid intense scrutiny. By reframing the narrative in this way, he avoided further inflaming conflict while signaling that integrity and emotional honesty remained his guiding principles. As the drama intensified, the question of motive became central. Who stood to benefit from casting Baldoni as the villain in the unfolding story? With the media spotlight scrutinizing every action, social media analysts dissected every interaction, while fan forums debated the authenticity of alleged creative disputes. What began as a high-profile adaptation of a beloved novel had evolved into a larger cultural narrative about reputation, integrity, and the power of collective support. The public story was initially skewed in Lively's favor, amplified by a vast celebrity network and star power. Yet Baldoni's supporters, through persistent advocacy, careful research, and repeated references to his history of empathetic, heartfelt filmmaking, began to reshape public perception. They highlighted his past work, his consistent approach to storytelling, and the likelihood that the rumors about the current project misrepresented his intentions. Baldoni's public expressions of gratitude became emblematic of this broader lesson. Even amid the glitz, chaos, and noise of Hollywood, authenticity, sincerity, and genuine human connections can break through, reminding audiences why storytelling matters. Meanwhile, the legal and creative tensions behind the project continued to loom. Allegations of manipulated documents, public statements from both camps, and competing narratives created a tangled web that blurred the lines between on-set disagreements and full-blown reputational disputes. Fans and industry insiders alike struggled to disentangle fact from fiction, all while watching how a single filmmaker navigated intense scrutiny. The experience reinforced a powerful lesson about resilience. While media frenzy often magnifies celebrity conflict, quieter stories of loyalty, advocacy, and support steadily gain influence and meaning. Baldoni's decision to publicly thank those who had his back was not just a polite gesture. It was a strategic and deeply human acknowledgement of the power of community and safeguarding integrity. At the same time, Lively's camp continued to defend her vision, emphasizing her creative contributions, professionalism, and perspective on the project. With public opinion increasingly divided, the behind-the-scenes narrative became nearly as compelling as the film itself. What had been expected to be a straightforward adaptation was now laden with questions of creative authorship, reputation, and the ethics of influence in Hollywood. Ultimately, the saga surrounding it ends with Us extends beyond cinema. It is a story about how narratives are constructed in Hollywood, how social media amplifies conflict, and how creators and their supporters navigate a landscape where perception often rivals reality and power. Baldoni's heartfelt video reminded audiences that even amid chaos, authenticity and gratitude can pierce through noise and offer clarity. As the drama continues to unfold, fans and industry observers are watching closely. Legal outcomes, public statements, and the eventual release of the film will shape how history remembers this controversy. In the meantime, Baldoni's expression of thanks stands as a rare moment of vulnerability and sincerity, proving that sometimes, amidst the loudest chaos, the quietest voices carry the most weight. The story of It Ends With Us is therefore not just about adapting a beloved novel. It is about loyalty, creative integrity, and the courage to stand by one's principles when the world is watching. Even in personal reflections, Baldoni's experiences resonate. He recalls moments of levity and humanity, teasing those close to him with humor, and appreciating the small joys of life outside the professional storm, like walking in the park with his children. The way he immerses himself in a character's world, drawing from subtle personal traits and style, it illustrates how deeply his creative process intertwines with lived experience, making both his work and his approach to conflict intensely human and relatable. Was this all simply an attempt to shield Blake Lively from disappointed fans who might have been turned off by a comedic twist? Or was it the influence of studio powers, quietly pushing for a lighter, more commercially appealing tone, even if it strayed from the book's profound themes? No one could say for certain, but the rumors continued to multiply, feeding speculation and tension behind the scenes. Then, new revelations began to surface. Reports suggested that Disney was quietly aligning itself with Justin Baldoni, likely seeing financial or strategic advantages in backing his vision for the project. This corporate support dramatically raised the stakes, signaling that what had begun as a creative disagreement had now evolved into a high-profile showdown with potential implications across the industry. Meanwhile, Baldoni's supporters remained resolute and vigilant. They meticulously combed through press releases, interviews, and social media snippets, searching for any sign that confirmed his sincerity and dedication to staying true to the source material. Each discovery, no matter how small, reinforced their belief that Baldoni's intentions were genuine and that he had been committed to honoring the emotional depth of the novel all along. Crucially, Baldoni himself continued to navigate the storm with remarkable restraint. He avoided personal attacks or